In this lab, we are going to implement end-to-end encryptions in the SQL Server. So first, make sure you go to your resource group. Okay, so this is where your VNet is. You have a database called SecureDB, which is located in the SQL Server called SVR486-35073. And these are your virtual disk that you're going to encrypt later on with the key from the key vault. Now first, we are going to take a look on our SQL Server. Okay, so this is the SQL Server that we have. Now if you go to the if you scroll down under the overview, you should be able to see your SQL database. Now we are going to update the firewall setting, so it will allow access from the client IP address. Okay. Now after that, we are going to test logging into our SecureDB database. And log in with the username and password provided. Now we are going to query a table called sales LT customer. So this is the sales LT customer. You can do select top 100. Can minimize the blade if you need to. Now let's say you only want to query the first name and the phone number. Okay, and rerun the query again, so you can see the first name and the phone number. Now after that, if you are doing the lab and you can check your work by clicking the verify, you should be able to receive the tick for your verify. Now the next step is to create the virtual network rule called default subnet. Before that, we go back to our resource group. Okay, in the resource group, we are going to go to the VNet. Make sure the service endpoint allow for the SQL Server connections. Okay, so next, click refresh. Now the next step is we want to make sure that we go back to our SQL Server. Go to the database. Now go to the firewall again. This time we are going to allow you are going to add the virtual network rule. Give some meaningful name. Let's say call virtual network rule. Let's say call secure DB endpoint. Okay. And we're going to log into the virtual machines later on. So while waiting for it to update the rule, you can go to your virtual machine And to connect, you can either connect it from here, or you can just copy the public IP address, go to MSTSC, paste the public IP address, connect. Okay, so notice that the previous step we have done, okay, we already add the virtual network rule called SecureDB endpoint 1, and that's it. Let's go back to our virtual machine. Now log in with the Azure admin and the password. Okay, sometimes if the lab reset the scaling, change the scaling, you can always change back to the recommended size. And go back to our virtual machine. Maximize this. Now we are going to connect to our database from our virtual machine. All you need to do is just run the SQL Server Management Studio as usual. Search SQL Server Management Studio. Now to log in, you use the website fully qualified domain name. Okay, so the server fully qualified domain name is stated here. Okay, while it's running SSMS, let's check. Okay, this is the one. This is your SQL server. You're going to connect to this SQL server using your SSMS from on-premise. Now find the fully qualified domain name. This is the fully qualified domain name to connect to this server. Let's go back. Paste this. Use the SQL Server authentications. Now there's a same username and password that has been created to connect to this SQL Server and its databases. Now this is your SecureDB. So that's it. Now in the instructions of the lab, you can click verify to verify that you have successfully done your work. Now we are going to encrypt the phone in the sales LT customer table. Now you go to encrypt column, follow the instructions, and tick the column that you want to encrypt. Choose the type of encryptions. They have two types of encryptions. Deterministic is where the private key, the key that is being used to encrypt, and the key that is being used to decrypt is the same key. This is called deterministic. If you want some random key to be generated, then you can use randomize. Sometimes randomize could be safer, okay, but deterministic encryptions and decryptions will be faster. Next, finish. Okay, this might take 5 minutes. So in the meantime, we can do the next exercise. The next exercise will bring us back to this virtual machine. Okay, so if you're not in that virtual machines, you can type virtual machines here. And then since we only have one for this lab, one virtual machine. Click that virtual machines, go to the setting, go to the disk. We are going to encrypt this virtual machine hard disk with the key vault. So we need that key vault. Type key vault. Create one. Put in the existing resource group. Give some meaningful name for the key vault according to the lab instructions, which is called KV. So make sure the soft delete is enabled. It's already enabled. Review and let me check. Everything is okay. Oh, there's one more thing. Because we are going to use this key vault as an encryptions for your disk. Under the access configurations, make sure you enable this key vault for the disk encryptions. Review and create. And then create. Now while it's creating, in the meantime we can check whether the column has been encrypted. Not yet. It might take a couple more minutes. Okay, so this is done. Go to my resource. Now for the access control, you're going to give yourself the permissions as key vault administrator. So type the permissions name, the role name, which is key vault administrator. Give yourself that permissions. Okay, review and assign. Review and assign. Okay. So now creations of the key vault has been completed, and it has been enabled for data disk encryptions. Okay. Now before we move on, again let's go back and check. It's still taking time. Now we are going to go back to our virtual machines. So the key vault has been created. We can go back to our virtual machines, and under the setting disk, click the additional settings. Now we are going to encrypt this both operating system and data disk using the key vault that we have created. Since we haven't created any key yet, we can create a new key from here or from key vault if you choose to do that. Okay, then create. And that's it. Save. Okay, so all done. We are just going to wait for the deployment to complete. Now our column encryption should have been done on the other hand. Okay, so now let's check. Wait for a while, it's still loading. Now in the meantime, you can check your Azure portal. Okay, so the deployment has been completed. Okay, so it has been encrypted. We can also check it from the same virtual machine. Okay, you can go to this management to check it. But before that, let's check our column encryptions first. Or you can click the verify button, okay, in your lab to verify that your work has been completed successfully. Okay. So since this is still doing encryptions, you notice that you can't use your virtual machine yet until encryptions is completed. Okay, so later on, give it about 5 minutes until encryption is completed, and then you can try to log into the virtual machines again and go to the disk management to check that it has been encrypted with the BitLocker.